I think one of the hardest things is that because I'm graduating, everyone is going on to jobs. Everyone is going on to do finance, business, going on to med school or grad school to be a social worker, be this, and I'm going on to be an Israeli soldier. My life has a lot of contrast. Sort of like I live a double life on campus a little bit because the Jewish aspect of my life is so important, but so is Pi Phi, but they're not connected at all. None of my sorority sisters really, they try to understand as best they can, but I'm also one of 3 Jewish girls. So the Jewish girls sort of understand it, not fully, but they try to understand. The first time I said it to people, the first time I said I'm going to join this army in a foreign country that you probably know nothing about as a person asking, people were like, can you do that? Are you a citizen there? Are you gonna have a gun? And then the more I explain what Israel is, people sort of get it. And then you say everyone goes to the army there when they turn 18, people get it even more. So I grew up in the JCC from the time I was like 4 till the time I was 14. So for 10 years, I was there 5 days a week, which was great. But I was also sort of in a bubble. And it was like Judaism was just sort of a part of my life because it always had been. And it was like, it wasn't a choice. It was just sort of the way it was. When I went to college, I was on my own for the first time. And my Judaism was in my hands, and I did nothing. I think I fasted Yom Kippur, but I think I only made it half the day. I felt this like, oh, I don't have to do anything if I don't want to. But the whole time it sort of felt like something was missing, because I didn't really have a Jewish community there either. And so when I transferred to the University of Minnesota, one of the first things I did was I went to Hillel for Shabbat. I started to get back into Judaism a little more on my own, and when it was my own choice, I got to figure out a little bit more of, okay, but who am I as a Jew, not just who have I been told to be as a Jew, or who have I been raised to be. It was like, this is in my hands, and I can decide my Jewish identity. For me, what I've figured out over the years is it's not about the prayers necessarily, and it's not about the Torah, and it's not about all those religious aspects, but it's about the people. So for me, Jewish community is at like the core of my Jewish identity, and it took me almost 22 years to figure that out, but that's sort of where I'm at right now. Growing up learning about Israel, it was like, when am I gonna go, when am I gonna go? And it felt like I really had no connection until I actually went. And so when I got there, it was like seconds where it was so cool for me to be able to use Hebrew. It was so cool for me to see people and be like, hey, that's a Jewish person. Like, that's awesome. Here, I assume no one else is because for the most part, no one else is. The coolest part about that trip for me was getting to meet the Israeli soldiers. The second they got on our bus, for me, it was like I was sitting next to superheroes. I was like, these people do the coolest things. Doesn't matter what their job is. They are defending Israel, and that's so cool to me. So I got really, really close with them pretty quickly. On Birthright, when you're going there, to them, it's like, you know nothing. They think about this American Jew like, oh, they don't know anything. They don't know what we go through. They don't know what we do every single day to defend this place. They just come here and they go out partying and they, do this and this. They weren't hesitant to speak to us, but they were hesitant to open up, and they were sort of resistant a little bit and sort of closed off. And I sat next to this guy, one of the Israeli soldiers, and he and I just started talking, and we realized how much we had in common. He realized how much I knew about Israel and how much Hebrew I knew, and he was like, wow, you actually care. And I was like, yeah, I really do care. This is a place I actually really care about. For me, it was like, they're putting their lives on the line. They're seeing all these awful things to protect their family, to protect my family, by the way, who lives in northern Israel. After seeing how reserved and how sort of apprehensive they were to get to know us, I felt guilty. I was like, they're right, I don't know what they go through. And they're defending my family, they're defending my place, my home too. So I was like, why don't I do that? Why don't I have to give a part of myself too? I had a little inkling of a thought there that was like, maybe this is something I could go do. Is that a thing? Do people from America go and do that? I don't really know. When I was studying in Jerusalem, the first week that I was there, a young soldier, she was 19 years old, was killed while she was defending the old city in Jerusalem. I realized that while I was there going out on the weekends and during the week, but while I was there going out and studying sort of, that all these kids younger than me were around the borders making sure that I was safe inside. And now it feels like it's my turn to defend the people inside so that other people can have the Israeli experiences that I've had. I didn't even know the term lone soldier. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know that that term existed. So it took a bit of learning and a bit of experiencing more of Israel to understand that that is a thing that people do come and join the IDF from other countries, not even just America. People come from all over the world. I feel like the US Army doesn't need me in the same way. America 100% also feels like my home too, but they're doing just fine on their own. They don't need me. Whereas it feels like Israel's out there, they're struggling a little bit more. And so it feels like I, as a person, as an individual, could contribute more to Israel than as an individual I could contribute to the US Army.
I'm still trying to picture you with a machine gun.
Putting herself in the line of fire potentially was extraordinarily difficult. And I'm extraordinarily proud, right? But I'm also petrified.
It's not about me if something were to happen to me, it's about my family if something were to happen to me. I think that's the hardest thing. So then I worry about them worrying. I do come from a very strong sense of human rights and justice. And so what's cool for me is to be pro-Israel and pro-human rights. But right now on our campus, people don't think those things go hand in hand. It's hard to get groups of other opinions to even join us for events. If we want to do an interfaith event, they're like, no, sorry, you guys support Israel, we can't do anything with you. How is actual peacemaking supposed to happen if some college kids on a campus can't even have a conversation? I don't exactly know how to fix it here. So before I can do that, I want to go and contribute there. So maybe I can understand even a little bit more how to defend it here. Everyone thinks about, what am I going to do after college? I'm going to go find a job. I'm going to get an apartment. I'm going to become an adult. I'm going to figure out my life. The first 22 years of my life, it's been all about me. Everything I've done, from going to high school, being in college, studying abroad, everything has been for me. And now I'm ready. I've been ready for a long time, but I'm really excited to do something that's not about me. And that's really hard because that's not the mindset of a lot of people my age.